Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your shortcut to getting properly up to speed on the stories that matter. And today, wow, we are plunging right into, well, it was just an absolutely wild weekend for Lewis Hamilton at the 2025 Belgian Grand Prix. SPA-FRANCORCHAMPS.
Oh, definitely. Roller coaster doesn't even quite cover it, does it?
Not really. If you were keeping an eye on any of the F1 blogs or saw the reports flying around, it was just, well, anything but straightforward.
Absolutely. And that's our mission here, really. In this deep dive, we're going to sift through, the direct quotes, the technical reports, what Hamilton himself said, to really get our heads around how things went from looking like a total disaster at the start to this pretty remarkable recovery by the end.
Yeah, we want to uncover those key moments. What were the specific challenges, technically, personally, and what did Hamilton himself say that gives us insight into this spa redemption, as people are calling it?
Exactly. What actually went wrong for a driver, of his caliber, and then how on earth did he manage to claw it back? It's a fascinating story of resilience, really, and adaptation in F1.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Because the start of that weekend, it was looking pretty grim for Hamilton. Really grim. We're talking qualifying struggles that were, well, completely unlike him. Unprecedented, basically. Eliminated in Q1, not once, but twice.
Yeah.
First for the sprint qualifying, SQ1 on Friday, and then again, maybe even more shockingly, for the main race qualifying on Saturday.
It was just a shock. Some of the F1 blogs at the time were pretty blunt, weren't they? Saying it was a terrible weekend for his aspirations at Ferrari, right from the word go.
Yeah, that pessimo fin de semana quote. You can only imagine the pressure, the frustration he must have been feeling. What were those initial reactions like? Did they tell us much?
Well, that sense of things going wrong really kicked off dramatically on Friday, didn't it? Yeah. During his final lap in SQ1, he spun. And Hamilton himself, he pointed to brake issue. Yeah. Said the car wasn't adjusted right. But the really interesting bit, the specific detail that came out later, it wasn't just some random brake glitch. It was linked directly to a brand new component. Right. Part of this big upgrade package Ferrari brought to Spa.
Okay, so new tech involved.
Exactly. And here's the crucial part. It was one of two new major components. His teammate, Charles Leclerc, he'd already run this specific part before, Montreal, other races. Right. But for Hamilton, this is the very first time he'd had it on the car in a competitive session.
Wow. So no real chance to get a feel for it.
Pretty much. It just caught him totally off guard, as the report said. He hadn't had that vital track time, to learn its quirks, how it responds under pressure.
And that unfamiliarity directly caused the spin. That really highlights the margins, doesn't it? How even a tiny bit of unfamiliarity with new kit can just derail everything.
It really does. It shows that even for the best, the learning curve with these constant developments is just relentless. You need that time.
Okay, so Friday was bad, then Saturday. It didn't get better, did it?
No. Saturday brought another huge setback, eliminated in Q1 again, this time for the main race.
And this time it was track limits. At Redon.
Yeah, exactly. Exceeding track limits at Redon. That incredibly fast uphill sweep where, precision is everything. You get it slightly wrong there.
It bites you hard.
It does. And it was described as an error improper for a driver of his class. A mistake you just don't expect from someone like Hamilton.
Which is fair. It was an error. But was there maybe more to it? Could the car with those new parts have just been particularly tricky right at the limit there? Maybe contributing even to his mistake.
That's a really good point. It seems likely he was still wrestling with the car's balance, directly because of those new parts.
Yeah.
The team may be still searching for that sweet spot for him.
And his reaction then was pretty raw.
Oh, yeah. Frustration, almost disbelief, it felt like. We got those quotes where he said, tengo que pedir disculpas, meaning I have to apologize. And also, es la primera vez que me pasa, which is, it's the first time this has happened to me.
Right.
Which just tells you how rare and, frankly, how unsettling these qualifying problems are for him. It felt like a real low.
Definitely a stark contrast to what we normally see. But okay, that sets up the turnaround, the redemption part of the story. Sunday's main race, he starts from the pit lane.
Right. And that wasn't just symbolic. It was a tactical choice. The team made big engine changes overnight, and crucially, they fitted a rear wing designed specifically for wet weather.
A gamble, given Spa's reputation for unpredictable weather.
A huge gamble. Basically saying, okay, we're throwing the dice on the weather being wet, or at least mixed, even if it means starting right at the back.
The gamble paid off. The start was wet, right, for the first part of the race?
It was. Very wet track for maybe the first quarter or so. Made for a really exciting opening. But then because it's Spa.
It dried out super quickly.
Incredibly quickly.
Yeah.
And this is where Hamilton seemed to just come alive. He thrives in those mixed conditions, doesn't he? He openly says he loves them.
Yeah. He said, "Me divertí. Siempre me han gustado las condiciones mixtas." Which is just, I had fun. I've always liked mixed conditions.
You could almost feel the shift.
Yeah.
Okay, now he's in his element.
So talk us through the comeback, the remontada. How impressive was it?
Oh, it was genuinely impressive. A proper masterclass in racecraft, really. Just methodically picking his way through the pack.
Who did he get past?
Well, he made key moves on drivers like Sainz, Colapinto, Hülkenberg, Gasly. Just think about the focus needed for that, car after car, especially after the qualifying nightmare.
Yeah, coming from the pit lane.
Exactly. From dead last, effectively, all the way up to finish 7th. Now, okay, 7th isn't usually a Hamilton celebration, but given the context.
Context is everything here. Is it fair to call it a redemption, though? Or was it just a really, really good damage limitation drive?
That's a fair question.
Yeah.
And look, 7th isn't a win, but the scale of the recovery coming from the pit lane, the mental reset needed after Friday and Saturday, it feels like more than just damage control.
Right. It's a statement about his driving ability and maybe the team's ability to react under pressure, too.
I think so. And you have to remember, his teammate LECLERC finished 3rd, got his 5th podium of the season. So Ferrari overall, they had decent pace.
Okay.
But Hamilton's specific drive from where he started, that really stood out as a kind of personal victory, maybe,
Yeah.
and perhaps a sign of what's possible once he's fully comfortable with everything.
And that comfort level seemed to improve dramatically between Saturday night and Sunday morning. There were big setup changes made overnight.
Absolutely crucial changes. He confirmed it himself.
Yes.
Said, se hizo un gran trabajo por la noche para rectificar algunos de esos problemas, meaning a great job was done overnight to fix some of those problems.
Okay.
And he also noted, el coche se sentía mucho mejor. The car felt much better. So whatever they did in the garage Saturday night, it was clearly a game changer. Gave him back that confidence, let him push.
That really shows that link, doesn't it? Between the driver feeling something's wrong, feeding it back, and the engineers finding a solution under intense pressure.
It's fundamental in F1. And speaking of engineering, we also learned Ferrari brought that new rear suspension to Spa. That was part of the upgrade package too.
Right. What was the thinking behind that? What's its significance?
Well, the key thing here is it's not just a minor tweak. This new suspension is designed to open up totally new ways they can set up the car, new configuration avenues. And critically, it's meant to allow them to run the car lower to the ground. Lower ride height.
Which is huge in the ground effect era, right?
Absolutely massive.
Yeah.
A lower ride height generally means a more stable, more efficient aero platform, more downforce, potentially better stability in high-speed corners. Tiny changes there can make a huge difference.
So the goal is to help Ferrari cement themselves as that clear number 2 team behind whoever's leading.
That seems to be the aim, yeah. Consistently second best most weekends. LECLERC's podium obviously helped that narrative at Spa. For Hamilton, it was about getting miles on these new parts, getting comfortable, giving that crucial feedback.
And it sounds like he is starting to find that comfort, or at least understand the potential. He seemed much more optimistic looking ahead to Hungary, the next race.
Definitely a big shift in tone from Friday and Saturday. He was quoted saying he thinks the team will be in a better situation, particularly with the brakes, so acknowledging that lingering issue from Friday. And he hopes that new suspension will really start to show its benefits more in Hungary. Yeah, with its type of corners, maybe more high-speed stuff where stability is key.
So the confidence seems to be rebuilding, not just back, but maybe growing.
It sounds like it. His Spa experience, even with the awful start, gave him invaluable data, invaluable feeling for these new components. He's clearly thinking, okay, Hungary, different track characteristics. Maybe this is where the suspension really helps us challenge more.
It shows that deep understanding he has, connecting the car's mechanics to track specifics.
Exactly. Translating feeling into engineering direction.
Okay, so beyond Hamilton's personal comeback and the car developments, there was another point of discussion, wasn't there? Hamilton's view on how the FIA handled the race start.
Ah, yes, the start delay. He was quite firm about that. Said the race began demasiado tarde, simply too late because of the rain.
Despite him being on the radio saying the track was okay.
Yeah, he was apparently telling the team, look, it's ready, we can go racing. But the start was delayed and eventually went behind the safety car.
And this wasn't just a one-off comment, was it? It linked back to Silverstone.
It did. There was that big debate after Silverstone where drivers, Hamilton included, were very vocal about dangerous conditions, poor visibility.
Yeah.
Isaac Hadjar's big shunt was mentioned.
Right.
So Hamilton's take was that the FIA basically overreacted at Spa, swung the pendulum too far the other way after Silverstone. He felt they waited until the track was almost too dry.
Meaning the safety car start wasn't really needed, and it kind of neutralized the challenge they'd set the car up for.
That was his feeling. You know, they put the wet wing on, geared up for mixed conditions, and then they start behind the safety car on a rapidly drying track. It's that constant balancing act for the FIA, isn't it? Safety versus the actual racing in tricky conditions.
And Hamilton, he genuinely loves those tricky conditions, doesn't he? He seems to relish the challenge.
Oh, absolutely. He said, "Me gusta pilotar condiciones extremas." I like to drive in extreme conditions.
Yeah.
And when you set up the car for those extreme conditions and then you don't compete in them, it's a shame. That really sums up his racer's mentality. He was ready for it.
He did add the caveat, though, didn't he? About safety being paramount.
Yes, he acknowledged, por lo menos todo el mundo estaba seguro, which means at least everyone was safe. You have to acknowledge that. But you could still feel his frustration, his desire to have started earlier, to really race in the conditions they'd prepped for.
It's that classic tension. Pushing limits versus ensuring safety. His perspective clearly leans towards embracing the challenge when it's, in his view, manageable.
Definitely.
So what a weekend. Just an incredible arc for Lewis Hamilton at Spa. From, the absolute pits of frustration in qualifying, dealing with new parts, making uncharacteristic errors, to the sheer satisfaction of that comeback drive on Sunday, methodically working through the field and ending with this, renewed confidence, a mountain of sensations, as some described it.
It really was. And understanding these layers, the specific technical hurdles with the new suspension and brakes, the crucial overnight work by the Ferrari engineers, the driver's own mental resilience.
Yeah.
It just gives you a much richer picture of F1's complexity.
Yeah. It's so much more than just who finishes first. It's that whole journey, the constant learning, the human factor under pressure, his ability to feel the car, articulate the problems, and the team responding. That's key to making progress.
Absolutely key.
So wrapping this up, what does this intense Spa weekend really tell us about Hamilton's integration at Ferrari? It's still relatively early days. They're introducing fundamental new parts like this suspension. There's clearly a learning curve.
Yeah.
How might these experiences, both the tough qualifying and the strong recovery, shape how he and the team attack the rest of the season?
And maybe longer term. What does his ability to adapt, give that critical feedback, and still pull off a drive like that under pressure?
Yeah.
What does that suggest about the impact he could have on Ferrari as they aim to get back to consistent championship fights?
Lots to think about there as we head into the next phase of the season. It's certainly shaping up to be fascinating.
It really is. Plenty more twists and turns to come, I'm sure.